Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to RRF1 post-season. This is a very, very different video, one that we've kind of never done before, which could, of course, be an absolute fucking human car crash. Ladies and gentlemen, the RRF1 Season 1 review. We've been watching the racing, guys, by the way. We've got a post-season Belgian Grand Prix here, and it's been an absolute fucking clusterfuck already, but this is not... I can't breathe.
Oh,
anyway,
Pause is dead, so that's
review.
the end of the stream. Nice to know you. See you for season 2.
These are, well, I'm not even season 2, I'm fucking dead, aren't I? These are the two guys here with us, of course, the originals of RRF1, of course, with me, PTR and Rara. Before we get into the nitty gritty, guys, how are we doing after season 1? How are you feeling?
I'm kind
Pumped for
of
2019.
I'm looking forward to 2019. I've had a week off from this game, so you know I sort of feel refreshed because you don't realise how much it takes out of you.
Amen to that.
Going for a season, especially a season where you don't really.
I've just lost the Rouge again.
Oh my god!
I wasn't watching you.
Yeah, actually, that's the point. Yeah, we should be on Pete. But yeah, basically.
Oh god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
I
Oh
wish.
my god! Sorry.
I wish I saw that.
Through the air. Well, guys, we now have Pete's attention for the full season review, as he's currently in the hospital somewhere in the Ardennes fucking forest.
Oh my
but anyway,
god!
This is... we won't really call it dirty driving, but yes, guys, this is what RRF1 brings to the table.
So much for Q2. Max is gone. Yeah,
For fuck's
like I said,
sake, why's everyone leaving?
all I wanted to say was that you don't realise how much it takes out of you going through a season, especially when you're not going to be there for every race.
Exactly,
Yeah,
and obviously, especially in
on
that position, Rara, you obviously had a lot more pressure to get yourself back in, didn't you? Which, of course, ended up being, well, fluently for you, obviously, as we are going to discuss a little bit later on. You, of course, did win the championship. But the purpose of this review, guys, is simply to go through exactly what it says on the tin. Indeed. It literally does what it says in the tin. Me, Pete, who has already fucking been carted off to some fucking Belgian fucking brothel somewhere to get himself healed, and Rara, of course, are going to be here giving an unfiltered view of the season. It may seem quite boring at times, because obviously we're just simply going to be reading out results in some cases, because obviously there are some races which all of us didn't attend. Obviously France, I was too busy having a hissy fit, of course, in RRF1.
Yeah, we remember.
Division when I obviously backed out, but, you know, shit happens. And when we get to Brazil, I'm on strike. Anyway, but yes, guys, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, F3. Now, as me and Dragoon famously said, of course, when we first started this division, or this league, I made a really, really telling point to Dragoon, who echoed it with me. Dragoon, of course, my fellow F3 commentator racing in this tonight, of course, growing in third. But basically, what we actually said was this is going to be the most exciting division for the simple fact of how these guys are going to constantly and consistently improve, which of course, as you will see, of course, as we go through all of the results, ladies and gentlemen, that is what happened. Of course, Rara, I believe you did miss the opening race. So
I did. I was gutted. I absolutely couldn't get out of work, and I missed the season opener. And apparently, judging from the tables, it looked like it was a bit of a car breaker.
A bloodbath. We'll talk a little bit more about it. Obviously, this is one that I do remember absolutely fluently. Syke Zani's retired, he's not exploded. Colt's leading, by the way, I guess. But anyway, on to F3. Melbourne. Nobody really had raced with each other before. It was... Turn 1 ended up being an absolute fucking car crash, which, of course, as is the way with new leagues. And then we had another car crash after the safety car. So... we ended up with 5 finishes. The first ever RRF1 race was, of course, won by the now Elite League driver, K77 Matt, of course, bumped up correctly. Also, as well, on top of that as well, we did have... The only reason why we're struggling a little bit with this, and we were talking about it, we had to go back and find the results, because, obviously, a lot of the guys are no longer with us, unfortunately. Weekster, of course, a very, very good, solid driver, of course, came second. Sexy in his one RRF1 Grand Prix, came in third position in the Sauber, of course. And then we had Big Hairy Jock as K77 Matt, dubbed the God. And of course the final result was taken up by another guy who's no longer with us, of course, Crazy Pumpkin. Highlight, I think, of that race, from my own point of view, obviously...
Oh, that's a name I forgot about.
Mainly me doing this one. Yeah, I know, exactly. The highlight of this race, only basically, this is all we're going to be doing, guys. It's going to be a little bit of a ball fest, but it'll be quite nice when obviously we get into the nitty gritty. A lot of the controversial topics will be coming in. But obviously the highlight of this race would be, I think, Dan Pennell's crashing off. I thought that was quite a nice touch, to be honest with you, as he went flying off just after the safety car review and nearly exploded himself in two. But
I
mean,
think
ladies and
that's.
gentlemen,
I think that's literally a case of experiencing cold breaks in a league race for the first time.
Oh my
I remember
God,
watching
didn't
that.
he
That was a
just?
good one.
It was an absolute fucking manic one. Of course, Pete was racing in this, guys. He is currently dead, as we said, for the third time now. Anyway, that was the opening round, the teether, shall we say. I'm just going to go flicking around to see other guys on the track. But yes, then on to Bahrain. Now, this is where the league started to take a little bit of shape. This is where, of course, Rara
Hello.
got himself in. He made his debut.
I
We
did.
had a veteran racer, ironically streaming this particular session on the opposite side of the garage, or the commentary booth. That is Beer and Kebab, made his debut in Bahrain, just thought I'd point that out. And of course the likes of Gritmaster. You know, I believe D666, of course, a guy who was formerly with us, and obviously went to F2 and then of course, obviously unfortunately had to leave. If you remember Wee John as well, he of course made his debut. A huge amount of debuts in this race, but of course now,
There was.
I'll let Rara take
We
this one. This is
we did a heavy amount of recruiting, and Bahrain was most famous for the corner of death.
It really
It
is.
certainly was,
Corner of
right.
death.
So many drivers got caught out. I think Dan Pennell's got caught out 3 times. it was kind of amusing. Like I say, it was a good race. I managed to survive turn 1 because as we all know, my starts ain't exactly the best, and yeah, survived turn 1, and it was a case of just trying to go from there. As all these new guys are trying to find their feet. Obviously, I've been playing F1 games for 20 years now, so I kind of got that going for me. And yeah, I took the Grand Prix win, which, to be fair, was nice considering how close I was to giving up the game. To be honest, I'm not going to lie. I remember Jock being quite competitive that day. He came, I believe, he came second. With actually, it was both Maccas. Somehow, despite spinning 3 times, Dan Pennell's finished 3rd. But yeah,
he did. He managed to get himself back up with an incredible comeback drive.
This was the point of this. This was the point of the season where the McLarens would qualify really well, and for whatever reason, things would happen during the race. I think I remember passing Dan into the hairpin as you go down the hill.
As well, Rara. There was the biggest pile-up that we had at that point when we went to turn 1. I believe it was Beer, Pumpkin, Wee John, and I remember the highlight of that race for me was Gritmaster moving from 12th to 3rd in 1 corner, based on just avoiding literally all of the carnage. If you remember that, because I believe Beer did get hit off, didn't he, as well? That was Beer's debut race, coming back to get 5th. So the classified results that we have here, of course, I think we are missing 6th position. I can't remember who came there. I think it was Wixter. It was, of course, Rara in 1st, Big Hairy Jock 2nd, Dan Pennell's 3rd, Bishop, of course, getting his first points position of the season. Of course, Bishop, we'll be talking about a lot more later in the season review. Also, Beer and Kebab with his first points for us, and Wigster was 6th, and then Kakashi 7th. One that I did actually forget. So Kakashi with his
My
first
teammate,
fabled
ladies and gentlemen.
teammate, of course. Gritmaster, of course, didn't have the best results in the end, came 8th, and Stan, who will, of course, also be featuring.
Oh, I remember Bahrain as well. Wasn't it famous for Ant Stan's brother?
Yes, it was.
Nope, we're moving on to that. It was China. That's coming up next.
I don't really remember for
Which is what
F3 and
we're gonna-
Bahrain as well.
Yeah,
I
I
dominated it.
remember he had incidents in Bahrain as well. There was quite a few people that weren't happy with him.
Oh, yes.
But yes, somehow Kakashi doing a fantastic job, finishing in 7th place and double points finish from Mercedes. God knows how many more times I'm going to say that during the course of this F3 roundup, but there we go. But yeah, it was...
Once.
Fuck's sake, Kakashi.
Oh, no,
It's,
twice.
it's still depressing. The man
And
who
then
went to
that
the
was
chip
your-
shop. The man who went to the chip shop every time qualifying started.
Absolute chip shot McGee. That, ladies and gentlemen, was Bahrain, Mr. Qualifying, of course, rounding out in 7th place. Right, now then, we did promise there'd be some controversial topics, and this is number one. We found our first black moments in the league, guys, of course, didn't we? Chinese Grand Prix. Very, very good up front, of course.
It's always going to
win
happen.
For Druid. Druid, of course, with the one-stop strategy, if you remember that.
That was a
Flying
quality
through the
win.
field.
Absolutely quality win.
It was,
Dominated
like I
it
say,
and then managed to master it.
he used his league racing experience to know, because as well, especially during the first half of the season, a lot of silly strategy errors were being made by the new guys, and
Yep.
like I said, guys who've of course league raced before and whatever knew that you basically do the one stop. You either start on the hard tire or the medium tire and go over to the next tire down or up. It's as simple as that. Others decided to start on the quicker qualifying tyre and
ultra soft,
found
wasn't
out very quickly that it got tore to shreds.
Yeah.
But of course,
Something
guys,
happened
he's
Wix in that race spot, didn't it? Wix was leading it and he looked a sure thing. Did he drop connection or did he get stuck in the
he
pits?
crashed off.
yeah, he binned it.
Oh, yes, he did. No, he got stuck in the pits. Him and Pumpkin got stuck in the pits.
That's what it was.
Oh,
yeah, nice one,
my
Pete,
God,
yes.
yeah. Because obviously, the China and what's the one after Azerbaijan? I wasn't there for, annoyingly.
Yep.
I missed 2 races on the
Course,
spin.
The black spot we had.
Yeah,
guys,
you
was
did.
Out the stars with the Charts. Look, I've only got 12 drivers in Q2, what the fuck. But yeah, Ant Stan, his brother Charles in the Toro Rosso, of course, had a brain fart and just completely lost it. Took guys out.
Took guys
obviously,
out,
promote.
hit Beer a couple of times, I think. Because
Gritmaster.
once again,
Wee
Beer
John.
got took out. Gritmaster was the one that we absolutely pulled him for.
Yep. Running, I believe, in third at the time, Gritmaster, or fourth, which was, of course, by far and away his highest, and on course to finish up there as well. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, it happens.
Pretty sure I black flagged him and got a few laughy faces back, and that was the end of all that.
Yeah,
Yep.
we dealt with it.
Flagged him.
We dealt with it quickly. There was a little bit of fallout, but it happens, and we recovered from it.
We did.
And we did, very, very nicely.
Very
Which
strong.
means we will lead on to the results as well, guys. Druid first, Beer and Kebab first, podium second. Bishop with his first ever league podium in third. Great drive from Bishop, of course.
It was,
Position
dude. This was
relatively here.
this was
Respect
noticing.
the Bishop for changing his name, Paul. You've seen that.
I certainly have, mate. Hashtag RRF1 Bishop.
Has he done
So
that?
he is
Fair
up
play.
there as well. You get a free name change, mate, after the update. I believe you have to do it through the website, I believe.
Oh,
I think it's kind of how you do it. I think it's through the online profile through the Xbox.com website.
oh okay.
I think. Don't quote me on that. I think Scotty knows how to do it. But we'll
I'll
see
vote
about
him
that.
after.
So, of course, then that was pretty much the results here. Of course, other notable finishes: Gritmaster with his 2nd points finish in a row, and Stan also Jock with another 5th position or another points paying position at this stage. Jock was actually, as far as I'm aware, leading the championship. By the way, guys.
He was.
That soon changed. Unique shots. He's got a finish in here, but I know he debuted in Canada, so I don't know what the hell's going on here. Dampenels, of course, with 7th position after having a shocker. Baku was a rather interesting affair from the memory bank. I believe it was absolutely dominated by Mr. Wakester. Not
It
really
was.
many
He
talking points from
kept.
Baku.
He kept out the walls. He finally got a performance together that matched his ability, and it was fantastic. He was there. He put the McLarens to shame and did what he had to do in order to get his first win on the board. In it was either his first in league racing or his first in RRF1. I can't. I think it was both.
I believe it
wasn't
was. It was his first ever league race win, which we didn't actually know at the time, but though it was most notable for a lot of crashes in the last 5 laps, from my memory bank. Basically, going through the quick left, right, and ages. Left fucking hell. If anyone else leaves, just let me know. That's on the back of a fucking postcard. But yeah, I believe the left right-hander. I believe about 6 people retired in the last 5 laps. Once again, though, all down to inexperience. A lot of them, with the tyres obviously going off at the end of the race. Not really many other talking points from Baku. Obviously, we're on the backup after obviously the Charles incident in China, and the classified results. Obviously, as Rara wasn't here, there's not really much more we can really say about it. Pete, to be fair, everyone just died basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
As we can see here,
I think
still left in the league.
Baku was a case of inexperience because, of course, a lot of new guys were still getting used to the whole concept of league racing and whatnot. And when you come up to a challenging track like Baku, you're gonna die, probably.
Basically, I think that's a very, very nice way to put it. So Wigster did win. We've actually got Wigster's results on the bottom of the table, so kudos to Scotty there, of course, on the table.
Have we?
Getting himself in there. Yep. Wigster did come 10th in the Chinese Grand Prix, just below. So, just to kind of simply say as well. So we had then Beer with his second podium in a row, of course. This was during Beer's really good start to the season. I think Beer actually, in the qualifying, got hit off by Wybernator. Bit of a spoiler there. Wyburn had not scored any points by this point. Dan Penel's in second. Unique Shots apparently getting given fifth again. He wasn't there. And that is what we have, ladies and gentlemen. But then, of course, on to Spain Row, which, of course, you were there for. I'll be honest with you, mate, not really the race that I remember the most.
No, but it was. I'm
a
gonna be
dominating win for yourself.
It was for me personally. It was dominant. I managed to get my lead back on the first lap, and I didn't really look back. I just stuck to the strategy that I was planned on going with. Of course, Spain, a track that isn't really that too hard on tyres. You can sort of drag them out a bit if you need to. And yeah, I just got the gap that I needed, pulled away, and I think there was like a first lap incident which helped me build up a bit of a gap as the stint went on with people having wing damages and whatnot. But yeah, like I say, it was good to be back and good to come back with yet another win in order to get me further up the table.
The one controversial moment, of course, I do remember one, was obviously Beer and Kebab and Wee John. Of course, this was the final race of Wee John, if you remember correctly. Oh, no, I think he raced Monaco as well, but obviously didn't finish it.
I can't remember what league it was in, but I'm sure I remember something happening on the exit of turn 2.
Not. I know that me and King Chris. I crashed into King Chris at turn 1 before turn 1.
I think that was it. Yeah, never mind. We'll get to that.
Oh God, please don't. So yeah, other than that, Wee John and Beer had the controversial incident where Wee John hit the side of Beer and he went off. So that pretty much was that. And of course, now, ladies and gentlemen, this is probably going to be the quickest part of the review. It's called Monaco.
Well, apparently I DNF'd, so...
You did. And it was a race where I actually remember this clear as day. Wigster won. He was out 3 laps ahead. I think he was a lap ahead of Bishop, who was 3 laps ahead of Ant Stam. And we also had, I believe it was D666.
It was just a case of telling everyone, just keep going. I think Anstan must have pitted. I think Anstan pitted 9 times.
Yeah, 9 pit stops. The fabled 9-stop strategy for Anstan. Of course, we have got
painful.
But of course, a really, really key part of this, obviously, Rara had only managed to race in 2 races. This was his 3rd, and this was, Rara, your first DNF.
It was.
At the time, you were heavily touted to win the championship.
It was, but to be honest, I expected it to happen in Monaco. I can never seem to get the swimming pool section right, and it proved to be my downfall. So, yeah, it was really frustrating. I think I was battling Wigster as well for the lead. And we just...
You were?
Yeah, I just pushed too hard and I got punished for it.
I believe you actually came into the commentary box for a little bit after to explain. You and Mark actually had ourselves a little bit of a 3-way in the commentary. No, Mark, calm down now, Mark. Mark, calm down.
Like I said, I didn't want to. I think I was hosting. I think, of course, I was hosting, and I didn't want to leave because I didn't want it to mess everyone else up. So I stayed in, and the logical sense was to join you guys in the commentary box, and it's always fun when we do that.
Oh yes. So that was Monaco, guys. Not really the most exciting of races.
It was a lovely day. It was a lovely day, and Anstan pitted 9 times, and he somehow scored points. So, you know, if you ever want to question Anstan on how to score points, if you ever want to, question Anstan on how to score a podium with a 9-stop strategy, ask him. I'm sure he'll be happy to answer.
Probably not tell you because he's probably fucking forgotten by now. But anyway, right. So Canada, big race. This. I believe we had a debut of, we had a debut
of Unique Shots.
One of our former championship rivals, yes, Unique Shots debuted, ignore the 2 points finishes before it. Unique Shots come in and did a really, really good lap in qualifying. I believe he was in the top 4, and it just went away from him. But this, ladies and gentlemen, was the first Grand Prix that was struck by rain in RRF1 F3 division. It was one of the wildest, wackiest, craziest Grand Prix we have actually had pretty much in our short history. And to be fair, Beer and Kebab came out on top. However, it wasn't quite as simple as that from what I remember. I believe, Rao, you were leading at one point and Wigster was in front of him as well. Both of you, of course, did, I think, well, I know Wigster did crash off, but you, of course, did DNF.
Yeah, do you remember why?
Yeah, you can tell them.
I DNF, guys. I basically, the strategy worked out well. I came out the pits. Me and Wigster pitted together. It just started to rain, and I think it was either Wigster or Dan Pennell's. I can't remember. It was one of the two. We came out the pits together, and I think actually Dan Pennell's now thinking about it, and he pitted for dry tyres. I went on to intermediates, and yeah, it was just a case of he had no grip whatsoever, and I managed to get away from him. Beer, I think I just got back out ahead. I think he tried to undercut me. It didn't quite work. And I built up a gap of about 10 seconds. But during the race, I'd noticed that there was a glitch with the Wall of Champions. And it was slowly getting bigger and bigger every lap, to the point where basically I went round the final corner and it decided to eat my rear end.
Boom. Boom bite.
Yep.
Just like
So
that.
boom goes the dynamite.
say,
So
was
yeah,
that.
that was Codemasters basically saying, "You're not winning this Canadian Grand Prix. Go fuck yourself."
Another couple of highlights that I do remember. Druid actually did start in this race, and he actually was running in a fine second position before exploding dramatically, which I thought was absolutely incredible, to be fair.
I think I don't really remember what happened there. I'm sure it was with battle with. I remember him and Beer battling quite a bit.
He was all by himself in the rain, and he kind of stepped out on the left-hand side and just absolutely hit the wall and completely fucking disintegrated for second place, which of course elevated Dan Pennell's again. Have you noticed a running theme here? Dan Pennell's taking advantage of a lot of problems in Hearts. Shit, so of course that was Dan Pennell's race to win, but he did, as you said, Rara, go onto the wrong tyre. Bishop, of course, with another podium. Other mentionable results were, of course, unique shots on his debut Grand Prix in 7th. We had a Jock in 6th. I believe Wigster did actually come home in 5th after his trouble.
Yeah, Wigster's showing us in 5th.
And I believe then Gritmaster, that is an accurate result. He did come home in 4th position. France. A race, of course, Rara, which was your personal redemption race. Of course, we are featuring that every year, of course. We're going to reveal why at the very end of the review of this part. Hopefully, be done by qualifying this part. So yes, but Rara, of course, did go ahead and win France. From what I remember, Rara, it was an absolutely bare-bone dominant display in the end.
It wasn't that dominant. It wasn't dominant whatsoever. Like I say, I shouldn't have been in that race. I actually spun out through the fast right-handers, and I'd been spinning for that long. The game reset me to the track just as I was about to hit the wall.
Jolly.
We all take advantage,
I
guys.
somehow got saved, and then it was just then a case of trying to catch up with, because basically I had a great battle with both McLarens of Jock and Dan. I think both the Ferraris of Wybinator and Bishop were up there for quite some time as well.
Then
And it was Wyben died, and then it was just a case of following these guys, and it was a great battle, and I somehow managed to get in the lead. I can't remember how. I think it might have been through strategy or through a couple of passes, and then it was a case of keeping the gap about 2 seconds. Then it got to about 4 seconds and 6 seconds, and then the rain came, and I struggled with the conditions, and I was being chased by somewhat. I've for some reason I thought it was unique, but yeah, it was Jock. Now I think about it, Jock kept me on my toes. I literally couldn't afford to make a mistake, and you know what? All credit to Jock. He did a fantastic job, and he deserved that. He deserved that second place. If anything, he deserved to win that race. But yeah, it was an insane race with, especially watching it back on the stream. It was ridiculous, the amount of overtakes and whatnot and accidents. Wybinator doing what should have happened to me, but there we go. I got redemption for Canada, so I'm taking that.
And I will point out, guys, debut for Barry Fife, who of course isn't on the table, but out of my memory, Barry Fife with the debut in the Haas. No other real notable results here, just looking up and down, of course. If you guys want to check out the results, of course, they are all available.
Yeah, I've got it.
Of course, twitch.tv/positively glad. That is there for you. Gritmaster, of course, keeping up his run of solid results, of course. The reason why I mention Gritmaster is now I approach the track of Austria. An absolutely fantastic Grand Prix. Possibly one of the best ever. And the highlight, probably almost the highlight of my season here, guys, and hopefully probably a lot of your highlights watching as well when you watch this back, is going to be when Gritmaster, the midfield runner, the guy who was pretty much Mr. Consistency, around about 7th, 8th place, led for 20 laps. And it was possibly one of the most emotional races that I think I've ever commentated on, because it was looking like he was going to hold on. And hold on, who the fuck is that? And hold on. Sorry, someone just joined. And hold on. And then, of course, Rara went and pissed all over his chips.
Yeah.
The win. But yeah.
Hey, he let me through. He could have fought me. He decided not to. But it was literally a case. It was literally a case. Me and Beer were having fun. I think we did battle for a bit, and then I managed to get past him and pulled away. I can't remember whether it was due to strategy or whether it was due to wet weather, but for whatever reason, Gritmaster ended up leading, and for the life of me, I still can't remember why. But he was there, and he was just there. And I remember coming out the pits and noticing how far he was, and I was just like, "Oh my god, how is he so far ahead?"
This man's going to win.
Yeah, basically. And then it was just a case of,
Jackie.
right, let's get these tyres warmed up and go after him. And thankfully, that's what happened. It was great. It was great chasing him down, pulling away from Beer by about half a second a lap, catching Big Hairy Jock by about a second a lap. It was just that thrill of the chase, and it was just amazing. And then with about 4 laps to go, caught up with him, and he let me through on the start-finish straight because, of course, he was on course for his best ever finish, and I don't think he wanted to jeopardise it. I think he fought Beer. He decided to fight Beer a little bit, but that was about it. But me, for whatever reason, he decided not to fight me.
All about the tyres. There is one thing I will say though. It was the debut of the man who we christened the gift that keeps on giving. There is a very valid reason why I point this out. Jason Pennells. We move on to the British Grand Prix. First properly controversial moment and big penalty, of course, with the qualifying ban, without obviously readying up because that's just retarded to do it. But yes, it was the first big penalty that RRF1. I'll set the stage. In fact, no, Rara, you set the stage.
Alright, so this was the first race since I can't remember what race it was though, when me and Wigster was actually fighting each other for the lead. But we was there, it was the British Grand Prix.
Monaco.
Monaco it was.
Monaco, yeah.
We were there, we were fighting 1 and 2, we were swapping positions left, right and centre. And then the second stint begins and we both come out and he gets ahead of me, and as I'm trying to warm up my tyres and get a good run coming down towards the old cop section, Jason Pennells is just up ahead, and we go through cops, and we're right behind him, and we basically see a sort of Ricardo Zonta moment from the Belgian Grand Prix of 2000, where Schumacher went to the right, Hakkinen went to the left, and Hakkinen got him. Instead, this time, I went to the right. Wigster went to the left, Jason Pennells was in the middle, and Jason it was frustrating because he did not get out the way. I remember screaming down that straight, like, get out the way, you're supposed to lift off, get out the way, I'm battling for the lead here. And then, we came together, and I got wing damage, so I had to pit, and Wigster just went quite far off track and lost about 10-15 seconds, which actually elevated Beer to lead the Grand Prix for
Yeah.
a bit, and I was
Amazing
so hoping he'd be able to do it because he
Championship rivals,
deserved
Rara.
it.
We already had our
Even
first
so,
rivalry in RRF1.
even so, but yeah, it was literally It was literally a case of like Wigster was there as my rival, and I didn't want him winning. But then, of course, in trying to make my way back through the field, I ended up colliding with Jock because I got a much better run coming out of Maggots and Beckett's, and unfortunately, I just collected Jock and I spun him. I got more damage, and rightfully so, I got a penalty for it. So that it for a home Grand Prix, it was one to forget. And unfortunately, Wigster overhauled Beer to take maximum points as well to keep the championship interesting, which on my part was very, very frustrating.
With Kakashi getting his second points finish of the season, or third points finish, of course, guys, just to throw that in there with an 8th position.
Yeah, only because
I
I weren't there to finish in front of him.
You should bring Big Harry Jock in. Give his opinion on it.
With Jock with his 10th position.
Unique shots as well.
He's in the British Grand Prix.
He's not qualifying here.
He did get 5th.
We'll bring him in.
What else have we got? Oh, probably not, mate.
No?
We just want to get like 6 people in the party. Probably going to be a bit
Just
of a
take a
mess.
few more F3 boys, maybe.
And Stan, this was the point as well. And Stan starting to gain consistency by getting yet another points finish.
Good call. Good shot. I actually missed that.
He did start to pick up a bit then, didn't he?
With his ability, he learnt the ropes a little bit there, and there's an interesting debut down the bottom, guys, for Cole Hunt, of course. Of course, now known as DMB, a potential trialist into the new season. But yes, a very intriguing one as well. Mellish, of course, debuted around about this time as well, if you remember, guys. I believe his official debut race was in the Belgian Grand Prix, if I'm correct. Oh, I think it was, no, it wasn't. It was Britain, wasn't it? We had a lot of new drivers in Britain. That was
Yeah,
we did. After we did our first group. We started to get fucking noticed.
We'll get back to that
then,
in
of course,
F2.
Germany. Yeah, we'll leave that one there. Don't want to talk about that. Mainly because I've pretty much forgotten that British and... Oh, no, fuck Britain, actually. No, yeah, that can go poke. Anyway, yes. Moving on, guys, to Germany. It was the debut of one Mustafa Shag. Halfway through the season now, of course, guys. Race 11. Championship, of course, really, really heating up at this stage. Mustafa Shag with his debut. And he actually had a really fine debut. 5th place. This race was marred by Dan Pennell's crazy driving, of course, if you remember, guys, into the first sector. He had the perennial brain fart and wiped out half the field. Which, of course, did you some justice as well. I believe I got you here as 3rd. Wigster, though, with another dominant win.
No,
and of course, this was the breakout race for unique
Something
shots.
happened to me in the stadium section. I remember me and Wigster talking about it, saying, we was on course to have yet another really good battle, and unfortunately something else got in the way. And I remember, I remember getting damage off someone going through, and which is why I ended up in 3rd place, because I had to do yet another comeback drive, and I was really happy that I managed to get. I really was really happy that I got 3rd. I was ecstatic. It was like that. For the life of me, I can't. For some strange reason, I've got Wibinator in my head, but there we go. But like I say, it was an interesting race. Dan Pennell's killed half the field.
Maybe turn one. Yeah, of course. We had Crazy Pumpkin, Jason Pennell's Beer and Druid all literally DNF'd practically immediately.
Yeah, I think that spelled the end of the bid, didn't it?
No, not quite. It spelled the end of Beer's competitive streak. That's probably what we will say, but we'll
yeah.
get to that in a moment.
Well, other than that, I don't like I say Wigster winning in Germany. It was frustrating.
Again.
Yeah. And then
at that point, when Rara was given the number 1 position at the start, everyone predicted him to just walk away. This is when some of the guys started to really come into their own. Obviously, barring Dan's mistake and mishap, and obviously, his inconsistency throughout the beginning of the season, of course, and of course, as we're going to talk about towards the end. This is where someone has finally risen up to challenge you properly. Which
yes, they did,
and
I was really, This was the point of the season where you could see that the guys who like Dan Pinel's, and if you take out Germany and stuff, and Unique, Widenate was gaining, Anstan was gaining consistency, Jock was still there, Bishop gaining more consistency. These guys were stepping up to the plate, and it was fantastic. The second, that's like Zadie.
Oh my God!
Hitting the Mercedes.
Sorry, forgive me, guys. We are actually watching a race here as well. I forgot about that.
Sorry about that. But yeah,
I was on board with Bingley. It was weird.
It was good. I'll say I wasn't there for the next race in Hungary, so I don't have any recollection of what happened.
Oh, I was. This was the race of Jason Pinel's. Basically,
was it the one where he dived Bombia?
Yep. Did 2 crazy dive bombs, and Beer, of course, did collect. I believe it was a kind of collision between the two of them, wasn't it? At turn 1 that kind of sparked it. Jason Pinel's obviously himself did apologise, obviously, for it. Obviously, Jason is very new at this point. Forgive me. This isn't us just taking a couple of shots at JP here, by the way. He is dramatically improved.
Jason Jason joined us in the middle of a league. He's gaining consistency and whatnot, but unfortunately, he was just. Obviously, this is a guy who's not really done league racing before, and he's trying to get to grips in the middle of a championship season. And unfortunately, there's just a few little things that just kept happening to him, unfortunately. But yes, as the season went on, you could tell that Jason was improving all the time. So we're not having a go at Jason here. It's just, unfortunately, he's been involved in a fair few incidents. So we have to bring it up. It's a season roundup.
Yep, and of course I will make a point as well. This is a point where one of our former ESR driver, Swizz, had scored his first points after debuting the race before in Germany. So Swizzle, of course, getting himself a 10th position finish, and of course, not really many other controversial topics other than Wigster getting another win, but of course that is where Wigster's appearances ended, pretty much.
He was in my real shot at the championship if he had stuck about, like.
I think he would have probably.
He would have had it. He would have had it.
He would have probably got it in the end. But he then, of course, moved. Life situation changed for him. And we move on to the Belgian Grand Prix, of course. Now, this is where, in my opinion, this was what I almost considered to be the new era, a new influx of drivers. Because, of course, we then did have Shrews, didn't we? We had Milky Bar
Shrews came in. The Milky Bar Kid came in.
Yep, Milky Bar Kid. So he's down us here.
Guys, apologies, I'm going for a quick smoke before this race. Okay.
Yeah, of course, we've got you actually fucking
2 seconds.
I think I'll probably have myself a quick fag break. I think I'll probably speed up F2 because you don't want to talk about that shit.
You do.
Well, we'll try not to.
No, we're talking about.
Yeah, as I was saying, Shrews, Milky Bar. Shrews and Milky Bar both coming in and actually performing really, really well. Of course, Belgium. The biggest thing I will say about Belgium, obviously, right, other than you managing to get yourself back into the consistency table or into the consistency realm, should I say, was the penalties. Of course, this is the first time where we really, really noticed that the game was completely and utterly shagged. No pun intended, Mr.
Yeah, heading into it was the bus stop in No Rouge that was catching people out. I remember because obviously I was caught in a battle with Wigster, Shrews, Shrews, Unique, and I think it was either Wabonate or Bishop. No, it was Bishop. We was having a really good battle and whatnot. The race had. Did it start dry? Because I know there was rain in the race.
Yeah, I believe it started dry and went to wet.
Yeah, so obviously there was that, and we basically just had to man ourselves. For whatever reason, I just couldn't do anything about the cars in front of me, like Unique and whatnot. And obviously that was where me and Unique, I reckon, became quite close because we had a really good battle that day. And I remember heading into the bus stop and having to take avoiding action to not run into the back of him. And unfortunately, because I did that, I just went slightly offline onto the curb, onto the outside before you turn into the bus stop, and it gave me a 5-second stop-go penalty. Absolutely bull. But there we go. These things happen on this game apparently. So you just have to get your head down and get on with it.
I'm gonna call it bullshit. We'll let's not get these words twisted, bro. If it's anybody under 16, welcome to the language.
Yeah, well,
So what else?
this is
happened?
how
Was
this
there
is how
anything
real
else that
people.
happened
This
there?
is how real men talk. I remember doing a fantastic move on Union
Yes,
Kid
there
to the bus
was.
stop, and
One more thing. There was one more notable point, actually, Rara.
well, there
it
was the fact that
the
everyone pitted.
Remember the qualifying? The qualifying
qualif-
was mental.
The qualifying was mental. It was absolutely. It was ridiculous. I think 2 temps separated the top 8.
But if you remember, it was when we had all the crashes. All of the top guys were out. I think Antstan grabbed his first pole position. I think it was, or Druid, and then Antstan. It was a complete Wagner as well.
Antstan on pole as well. That was ridiculous. I remember. I think no. I crashed out in qualifying as well, didn't I?
Yeah, you were with us for a little bit.
Yeah, and I remember on the start-finish straight, just on the beginning of the race, just not moving, and just pulling over and letting everyone else go, because I was just like, yep, I'm not dying here today. I want to make my way through the field, and I want some serious points.
Speaking of dying, Wyber's exploded. Sorry, I just thought I'd go on. God, sorry, go.
Oh,
You just literally blew up the track.
But yeah, fucking hell. But yeah, so, and of course the race went on, and of course the rain came. And once again, it was a case of people pitting too early for the tyres, and unless you're Wyburn, you went far too long on your tyres and ended up with a puncture, which was a shame because he was leading.
Of course, yes.
He was leading by
Wyburn
quite a
was
way.
his race.
Anstan, for whatever reason, had a 12. I remember seeing him. He had like a 12-second gap at one point when I looked. I wasn't near him, but I remember looking on the map and seeing how far in front he was. And then for him to just fall back by about, he lost 30 to 35 seconds throughout the rest of that race because he pitted far too early. And then of course, like I said, Webernator just, unfortunately, whilst he was leading, and I was catching him. I reckon I would have had him, but the fact that he had a puncture going up to Blanchimont, it was just unfortunate for him, and it gave me a relatively easy 6 laps, really, which ruined a really fantastic Grand Prix.
It did, and it was just the easiest end to the race ever, which of course led to Wybernator getting his first podium. Monza.
Okay.
I don't really remember too much other than the overtake of the season, probably with Beer, wasn't it?
Yeah, Beer doing his free wider overtake down into turn 1. That was fantastic.
Shrews and Milky Bar.
But I remember battling with
Wyburn,
McLaren,
wasn't it?
And Wyburn.
Shit, yeah.
Well, Towley's gone. Whether he's just retired. Oh no, he's just retired. Never mind. And I remember just gradually just sticking with him all the time. Unique crashed out in qualifying, I think, and for whatever reason he just wasn't there in the race. He either got took out or whatever. Something happened to him, and he wasn't there to mix it with us. But oh dear, okay, Johnny Bravo's just rear-ended that McLaren. But it's just I remember being stuck behind the 2 McLarens and then being ahead of them by the end of the pit stops, and then it was a case of chasing Wybernator, who had built up about a 5-6 second lead, and I managed to get him. I remember just literally heading down into turn 1. I was like, this is now or never, because I'm on the quicker tyre here. He's clearly not got the pace on the hard tyres, and I made the move stick into turn 1, and I got that win, which was really important heading into the races, because Monza for me was my last good race. I struggled throughout the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it kind of I think it wasn't really you struggling, right? Do you know what? I'm almost thinking, should we make this into a 3-part thing? This is really long. I didn't expect this to be this long, to be honest with you.
Just a bit to say
Fucking hell. Because I don't want to kind of shorten it down, because we've got a lot that I want to talk about. But obviously, I think, should we do F3 tonight and then arrange the next couple? Because I think we could probably do this in a 3-part thing.
We've still got don't forget, guys. We've still got the race to go through as well.
It'll take that long.
Oh, what the hell?
What?
I don't know if you guys would have seen that, but
I could see the left side.
I could see cars like bouncing off each other, and one car flew into the wall.
What's the best tire to start on here, fellas, before you go any further?
I would say
Look
soft,
at
mate.
soft.
Then medium.
Medium.
I'm gonna go basically.
Mediums just have no grip,
Soft medium.
and they're just
Soft
horrible.
medium. If you're gonna one stop,
Cheers, guys.
soft medium. Or you could probably go. You actually go super to medium, if you really wanted to, but that depends. How.
Someone's ready already. Oh dear.
It's a new guy.
It's
Why
Boss
is he even in here?
Gamer.
Who is he? Fucking hell. Do you know what, guys? It wouldn't be RRF1 season review without an early ready up from a fucking complete stranger, would it? Let's be fucking honest, would it? But anyway.
You dick!
Well, class clown retard, you motherfucker. Go get your web feet and plant them up your mother's ass. Anyway, moving on.
yeah. So moving
right,
on. Next
Singapore.
race. Oh, Tally's left.
Charlie's ass.
Sorry. Yep, okay, that was expected. Right, I guess we can, do you know what? This might be beneficial to us. I'm going to back out as well. I think we should back out here, or wait for Tally to invite us. But yes, we'll carry on. Singapore, basically, I believe that wasn't your victory, because it was, now this was the most single, barring obviously your crazy pit stop, possibly one of the most dominant displays.
I think they're restarting.
And the coming out party. Yeah, man, they're restarting. So I'm just trying to keep the conversation flowing, basically.
Yeah, that's fine.
But
Like I say,
Singapore.
Singapore was amazing just for one reason. Unique shots was absolutely ridiculous. He had the pace to do whatever, and unfortunately, I suffered. I got pole. I stayed ahead, but I suffered from tire temps. It was killing me compared to Unique, and it was just a case of I managed to keep him behind me once he cleared like guys like Wibenea and Anstan and whatnot, because he did start a few cars behind, but he managed to get past them, and then he just cruised up to the back of me. There was absolutely nothing I could do, and then a VSC came out. And unfortunately, I couldn't get there was a point where I just couldn't quite get the car slowed down in time, and it gave me a penalty, which basically meant as soon as the race began, I had to pit, take that penalty, and it basically released Unique shots into the wild blue yonder, and we never saw him again. May his soul rest in peace.
But to be fair, to expand on Rara's incredible descriptive display, he fucking dominated. It's just like you go, oh, amazing poetry. I'm just like, yeah, he fucking blitzed it, mate. But yeah, it was without a shadow of a doubt. Obviously, we had a few controversial moments. Obviously, probably one of the most hilarious moments, which Beer won't agree with me on, was when Druid crashed off on lap 1. And then next thing you know, Beer went straight into the ghost of his car, and they both just lay there together, just in a complete crumpled heap together out on lap 1.
But he deserved that, and like I say, I was happy that I could recover to second place despite suffering with I think it was second place I got in that race. Let's just have a look.
You did. You did.
Yeah, but I was really happy that I got there because, like I said, I just couldn't do it. The first set of tyres, for whatever reason, I just struggled on them. I just couldn't do anything with them because they were ultra soft. They weren't hypers. They were ultras. So you'd expect to have a bit of pace and grip, and they just completely went compared to the second set of ultras that I used in that race. I don't know. I can't explain it. It was just one of them things. But like I say, Unique shots won. But I need to respect it, don't I?
I think Beer and Ben do as well.
But it was just one of them things, and he won the race by about 50 seconds. I've not seen a league race won by that margin ever.
Not for a long time. I've been up there leading a race myself personally, but that was completely and totally different. That was the old league we used to be in, and the first race, ironically, of the F2 division. I was leading by a minute and decided to go for 3 spins, which really, really didn't help me. Anyway, enough about me. You're going to hear about me.
Yeah,
and
we'll
my
get
fucking
back to that.
In a minute. We'll at least, guys, do F2. I think I might even leave Elite League, possibly, at the end, because obviously this has been going, I think, 50 minutes? We'll work it out. We'll fucking work it out. But anyway, what we are going to talk about here is the Russian Grand Prix. Wyvern's coming out party. Funnily enough, have you noticed, in the last few races, we've had people moving forward. Wyburn, of course, in Monza. You had, the likes of Unique in Singapore. Wyburn truly starting off his his amazing streak of finishing first across the line, of course. That was him in Russia. An absolutely fantastic drive there, of course, by a Wybernator. And from what I remember, it was an incredible race. Of course, Rory, you were in that one, and ironically, Pete was commentating. I know Pete will be probably going a little bit quieter moving forward because he is, of course, in this
I've said nothing.
race, of course. I know.
I'll pick it up for F2, I promise.
On the F3, have you?
Not overly.
You're going to be included in that.
Well, like again, this race was again literally a case of just not being able to do anything about the guy who was leading. Just Wybernator, for whatever reason, he had it. He had the pace. He could just run away and hide if he wanted to. And I remember, I think the gap was about 6 seconds, and he pitted. And I thought, right, this is it. This is where I need to attack. So I upped the engine and whatnot. And as soon as I did, going around that left-hander, I lost the back end, hit the wall, got damaged, and that ruined my race.
Same happened to Bishop. I believe pretty much almost identical circumstances.
It was actually, yeah. That was quite interesting. It was like sort of not quite synchronized because we weren't next to each other, but he felt my pain, so he decided to do the same thing.
Synchronized spin, a sympathy spin.
Sympathy, yeah, that's
Mustafa Shag's. This was Mustafa Shag's first ever podium. If you remember the controversial incident with Unique Shots, he was the one who was going to challenge Wybernator. He was the only one in the end who had the ability to kind of keep up with him at that point. And his car jinked him to the left and he hit the wall, if you remember. That is one thing I do remember about that race, how he kind of almost got jinked across and then lumped the wall. Me and Pete were just in comments, what the fuck is going on?
That's right.
And the next thing you know, obviously, he did that, and obviously that was the end of the battle. That was going to be a thrilling battle between two of the most up-and-coming drivers in the RRF1 community as well. So that was, of course, there. Obviously, Shag with his first podium won that on penalty count back. At least the car's... What the fuck does it... What's that car? Oh my...
Yeah, that's what I saw earlier.
What the I guess we're just going to roll with it. Admittedly, we did do the Saturday race with cars facing sideways and backwards, and we carried that on, so hopefully we can give you guys a bit of an entertaining show here. But yeah, other than that, there wasn't really much talking point. From the... I will go back to the Monza, obviously, with Beer and Shrews, obviously, in the qualifying. That was a bit of an entertaining incident. Of course, Delph Shrews, a bit of a penalty.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one now.
That was one we did forget. But obviously, I think that was it, mate. Japan, you did miss.
I did.
The reins of that. I'm trying to work out who actually won Japan. I believe it was Dan Pinells. He's come up with red DNF. That's not really ideal. Who actually won Japan?
I've got the tables up now.
There's no number one on it.
Oh.
The weird one?
Oh, there is. Is it Dan? Did Dan win it? I'm sure Dan.
No, I'm sure Wyburn won 2 on the bounce.
He did, and he lost it on penalties to Dan Pinells.
Right.
Remember.
I think that's right.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to just basically say this is the most professional season review ever. We have no idea who finished fucking where. We can't remember any of the fucking races, even though we're all there. And so yeah, that went really well. So yeah, obviously I know so much about the race. Obviously we're gonna spend the next 10 minutes talking about it naturally because we can't remember anything about the cunt. Anyway, do you remember what Wyburn did? Fuck knows, mate. I think it's old league we used to race him beginning with S. I don't know. Anyway, it was sorry, no one's gonna watch this far. No one's gonna watch the fucking shout back. Anyway, sorry, I'll shut up. Sort of. Anyway, yeah, Wyburn did of course get his second win on the bounce, if you remember, but then of course lost it on penalty countback. That's pretty much one of the only memorable moments of that Grand Prix that I can truly remember off the top of my head. It wasn't really the most exciting Grand Prix. I do know that of course there was one exciting moment, guys, and it's going to lead on to the next couple of races, which were a lot more thrilling. It was the debut of Little Towley, Mr. Abase. When Abase come through and dominated qualifying, if you remember.
Yeah, didn't Abase get pole on his debut?
He did. 6/10 quicker. Rocking the world of RRF1. Love how we forgot everything that happened, then all of a sudden it comes back to you, doesn't it? But yes, Abase did get his first pole position on his debut attempt. Was up there, and if you remember, Wybernator had an incredible... I remember the whole race has come back to me now. Oh, we're going on that, so we're going to be able to give you guys a little bit of action as well.
To go on board with me, please.
Just to kind of... Yeah, we're going to follow Peter Peru.
Yeah,
No.
we'll follow
race.
Pete. We'll follow Pete. Yeah, we'll follow our fellow
Cheers,
admin,
boys.
the man who brought this league together.
I think we'll have
That'll
that
be right.
intermission. We're going to go for a quick fag as well after the F3 because I'm literally eating the side of my fucking face.
I don't think you're going to fit it in. The
No.
race is only going to be 40 minutes according to my timer. You'll not get F2 in.
We'll give it a go. We'll give it. If we have to fucking cut it half short, mate, we'll fucking do it. And we're lights out and away we go. And here's Pete, guys. So what the fuck? Oh, there's a really slow Renault at the back. Oh my God, Wyburn has just not moved. Well, that's really good.
Wyburn sat there.
Oh, got a bit of damage
Oh,
there.
there's
a bit
damage
of front
there.
wing flying across the front of the screen.
Oh dear.
Suzuka, Antstan, his first race on the wheel. He actually did. Oh God, let's have a look at who's anyway dead. Oh, lovely call.
Hey.
Drive off towards fucking Zandvoort.
This is like another road game.
But like,
I'm just trying to hang back.
anyway, carry on with the review. We're not supposed to be
Yes,
watching
keep
the race.
going.
Back to the review. I'm gonna watch the race. Obviously, the race, of course. We'll kind of watch it and obviously talk about the
There's
Front wing
damage.
done.
at the same time. So basically, what we have then, ladies and gentlemen, was the Japanese Grand Prix. Antstan, of course, his first race on the wheel. Did himself a lot of justice there, of course. Ended up getting himself really high up. I think he was actually initially battling Wyburn after Wyburn come from the second row and shot past everybody to take the lead.
He did, but then
And
he
then, of
lost
course-
it. He lost it coming out of the second Degner, and he never
Lap
really
three.
recovered from that.
Straight into the wall. Of course, Antstan, this will be a common theme on this whole thing.
Fucking hell,
I think
Pete, where you
there's
going?
Pete yes.
Got a broken
He's
front
actually
wing, dude.
Pete's in this season review, just trying to get himself some track time. Obviously, we're going to be. He hasn't really said much, of course, as he says at the moment, so we're just trying to drag our attention to him. But yeah, this is weird. I've never commentated a race while actually doing something else. This is real multitasking.
It's interesting. I like it. But anyway, yeah. So that was Japan. Like I said, there was nothing there.
Now,
And then we moved on.
the controversy begins.
Of
The
America.
controversy begins. Unique shots. Rara. Turn 7, I believe it was, a turn 8.
Yep. Lap
Rara, of
8.
course, carrying a bit too much momentum at the beginning of sector 2, going over the crest into the back of the unique shots. Carnage.
Oh shit,
Of
turning.
course, I
Oh
will
my
mention the
God!
name-
That's Towley stuck in the piss.
What the hell?
Towley
did
was
miss that, of
stuck
course.
in the pits.
Fuck.
Standard stuff. Pause missing action. You wouldn't have thought that, would you?
Sorry, boys, keep
apparently
going, keep
Towley's
going.
leading the Grand Prix. No, Towley's leading the Grand Prix on my screen. That's really messed up. Of course, it is F1, as you would know. But yes, America. And then, of course, going down the back straight under DRS, of course, Unique lost his wing, misjudged the braking point, of course, and ended up literally crashing.
It
I
took
believe it was into Batman.
it took two.
It was his debut race,
it took
of
about
course.
2 people out, wasn't it?
A
It was
jock, I think he
it was
hit the back of.
unfortunate. Yeah, it was unfortunate for Batman. He had I thought he had a very good race. But like I say,
Good driver.
regarding the incident with Unique, again, it was fun because we basically said, right, we need to cover off Wyburnator, which I failed to do because he still got me up the inside into turn 1 off the start. But yeah, he did that, and then it was just a case of a base who yet again was up there. Unique, fucking hell, Pete, you're absolutely shredding it. And then, yeah, it was like this brilliant 4-car battle between me, a base, Unique, and Wyburnator. And unfortunately, when it came to about lap 8 and 9, I just coming out of the S's, I just got too close to Unique, got on the power far too early, and just ended up rear-ending him, which, you know, I still beat myself up for to this day because it ruined what could have been an absolutely fantastic battle for first place. Because I remember having a base behind me, and I knew he was quicker, but the fact that I was getting DRS every lap was just like, yeah, you're staying behind me, pal. And it was unfortunate, and
That was
like I said,
controversial moment number
with
one,
America,
Rara.
and with America being as ridiculous on penalties as it was, I really wanted to finish as high up as I could because I knew that Wyburnator was on a charge in the championship, and I just didn't know where I was going to end up, you know, for these flyaway races, because I knew this was where I struggle.
Controversial moment number 2 was a base tapping the back end of Wyburnator during their eventual, well, what was left of the 4-car battle. It was basically Wyburn and a base, and of course going into turn 1, a base on course, I would say, for his first Grand Prix victory, of his career, of course. Bear in mind, he's only in his bloody second race. Ended up literally going for a slight move on Wybinator, bit of desync, straight in the wall. Heartbreak. Absolute bloody heartbreak for the guy. And he went literally, he still got 4th. So a really, really good comeback drive after that.
Well, this was the race
the
race that eliminated Unique
Bishop
from
as
the
well.
championship and Bishop.
Bishop in effect.
Yeah,
Effect.
Bishop in effect. It basically left me.
Brought Wybinator back into the championship.
Yeah, it brought
After what he
Wybinator
did.
well and truly into the championship because he won the sod. Oh, is that a full safety car? Sector 1, 2, and 3. Yellow flags all over the place.
I think it's just yellow flag, wasn't it? I think it's just a
Yeah, Skillen's crashed.
What is big, isn't it? So yes, on to the Mexican Grand Prix. And speaking of Mr. Abase, he did it. Brilliant driving. Jock and Skillen died. Oh, there you go. That's Team Scotland out. That's Team Scotland cut short by 2. But yes. Then of course, if you remember, Abase dominated Mexico. Very, very interesting Grand Prix, the Mexican Grand Prix, of course, Rara. This is when
Well,
the
yeah.
championship, of course, swerved in your favour, of course, but most of your
It
rivals
did.
not obviously finishing in very high positions.
Well, yeah, basically, this was a race where we decided to, keep Wybinator from doing his usual electric starts, and we actually got our cars positioned perfectly, so he couldn't do anything. But unfortunately, for whatever reason, heading into Turn 1 in Mexico, Wybinator then sort of ping-ponged between me and Unique.
Shit, yeah.
And
Happened my arse.
yeah, we went off. We went off. I went off. Wing damage. Front wing was completely obliterated, and I had to stop on the grass at turn 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 because obviously the whole field was going through, so I couldn't do anything. And so I had to wait for them through, and then I had to basically limp to the pits, and then basically just try and get something from this race because it was one of them things. And I think I dragged a set of ultras for 16 laps around Mexico.
We were kind of saying, what are you doing? It was almost like probably one of the most craziest things I think we've actually ever
Well,
seen.
I wanted to do the one stop, and effectively I had to do it in order to get something from the race. Because if I was gonna pit twice after the first lap pit stop, nothing was going to happen. So I had to take a risk, and luckily it worked out. It worked out for me, and I remember coming through the field, and there was a particular incident with the gift that keeps on giving heading into turn 1, where I was chasing Dan, because obviously Dan Pinnell's as well was, his consistency kept him in the championship hunt.
He was
as
your
well.
rival. He was your rival at that point, wasn't he? He was
Yeah,
obviously
we
second on
haven't.
the table.
Yeah, like I say, we do apologise. We haven't talked about him, but yeah, he's there. His consistency just keeps on getting him. There. So he's ahead of me. I'm chasing him. He passes his brother, and I'm like, "Hey, up! He's there. Agent Jason has been deployed." And yeah, I think it wasn't the first time into turn 1, but the second time into turn 1, I was behind him, where I got a better run, and I managed to get him, but Jason just got a bit too hot on the brakes, tried to hang it round the outside, and clipped my rear wheel, and he went for a spin.
Jason's
Again, of course,
best Grand Prix at this point.
It was,
Just
but then
he was up in
he was doing really well, and then it just went to pot after that spin. And again, Mexico being quite heavy on penalties. It was 2 races in a row where I'd seen myself go 3rd across the line and then drop to 5th because of the people got less penalties than me.
Yes.
And it was just so frustrating.
And of course, Unique Shots did get himself in second position. Of course, Dom at this stage, of course, was out of the championship hunt after, of course, the controversy of the Mexican Grand Prix.
American.
And I believe Dom did actually get disqualified. Oh no, the American Grand Prix. Yes, forgive me. Sorry. Yeah. And of course, one controversial moment of coming from that, Wyburn with, of course, a race ban.
Yes, the
which
stewards
was a
felt
harsh decision, of course.
the stewards felt that they had no choice but to give Wyburn a race ban, and that effectively ruled him out of the championship, because next was the mess that was Brazil.
Wasn't it? Oh, fucking don't get me started on that. To be well, Brazil. Pretty much the first Grand Prix in RRF1 history that we had to restart.
Yeah,
Based
because we
on
got
an
stuck on the
absolute
line.
shambles at the start. Yeah, everyone got stuck on the line, so we obviously restarted that. That was about 5 minutes worthy. And then the next part, of course, was a massive pile-up into Turn 2, coming out of the centre S's.
Caused by Bishop,
and
no
just,
less.
yeah, it was. Oh no, that would be Turn 4, wouldn't it? Forgive me, I did get my numbers wrong there. So coming out of Turn 4 in Brazil, I was thinking of just the initial pile-up. And of course, Bishop tapped the back of Dampanel's, of course, both still in the championship hunt at this stage, I want to point out. Bishop was 44 down, Dampanel's 29 at that stage, of course. Both having to... I think it was 21 or 22, was it, Dan? Forgive me.
Yeah, it was
But obviously
20s.
ended up... But then, forgive me.
No, it was
yes,
no,
then
it
Bishop,
was 19.
It was 19. 19 points, yes, I remember, because he had to win, and you literally had to come second. So it was something like that, wasn't it? But anyway...
Johnny Bravo's out.
Oh, Bravo's dead. Holy moly.
Thank you very much.
Oh my god, I think he's absolutely exploding. Oh, mama, as Beer says. I bet he's saying that right now as we speak, actually. Quite fun, mate. Amazing that the F3 guys are actually put themselves on a good little show here, actually. Currently running in this position at 5th.
Yep, unique shots 5th, Wyburn 6th, Bishop 8th, head of Towley.
With a base 7th, of course. Don't forget about that. But yes.
Because it's all
Brazil,
about the base, about the base.
Oh, fucking hell, you ain't no mark doing that, mate. And here we go. I want to simply point out as well that, of course, the championship was decided. Mr. Rara in party, you did become the RRF1 Formula 3 Series champion.
I did. I avoided the incidents somehow, despite just clipping the back of Mustafa Shag, and it gave me a stop-go penalty for that. For whatever reason, decided to give Shag one as well, which was ridiculous. But the race was decided though, because unfortunately Unique, who'd been leading, I was catching Unique, and I think I actually had more pace than him on the day. I was catching him, but unfortunately after the pit stops he picked up wing damage off a car. Can't remember who it was, and unfortunately it left him vulnerable, and they ended up getting him, and through an absolute car crash. That was the Brazilian Grand Prix. I guess someone who's a bit more experienced kept his head together and came home with the win. I'm trying not to sound big-headed or anything there, guys. I'm crap with wording things, so I do apologise if that's how it comes across.
Fucking bow down before me, bitches.
Bow down before the F3 champion.
Yeah, I would say F2 myself, but obviously I'm not talking about that yet. And of course, guys, we haven't had the tables updated for Abu Dhabi, so that is F3. I generally can't remember the fucking race. It's literally gone by in a blur, to be fair. I know we gave a lot of new trialists, didn't we? A bit of
we did that. I obviously was missing for that race because people had started to leave work at this stage, and still leaving to this day. So there we go. But yeah. But I think.
Oops.
I think did Wyburn win that one? Yeah, he did. I think he won it quite. I think he won it quite comfortably.
I forgot to write the cunt down.
Oh my god! You said you were going to have the details for the last Grand Prix of the season.
Yes. You don't keep up. Yeah. I've been playing with golf, guys, and
this little thing that we're doing right now, it's not making it to the DVD.
Mate, no, do you know what, mate? It's going to go straight to fucking DVD, mate. Trust me, this ain't going to fucking cinema.
Well, that was it. The story of F3, the beginning was about inexperience and whatnot, and older heads, keeping the strategies and whatnot. The middle part of the season was coming of age of Wyburn's dead.
Speaking out of the pits, he just came out of the pits. He must pull tires, lost it.
Oh, poor bastard.
Easy done.
But
he's mangled. Yep, he's done. He ain't going nowhere.
But yeah, it was just a story of that. And like I said, mid part of the season was the guys coming of age, getting the grips together, and actually taking the fight to, me. And the third and final part of the season was, these guys were quite literally quicker than me. They'd improved so much, and negotiating with different apps. You know, some people decided to not take different assists off and whatnot now, and we're going faster because of it. And Unique is dead.
Oh,
no!
Oh my lord!
Oh my
Holy
god!
moly! Speak of the devil, he's one of the guys who was faster before. Of course, he has got himself a bit of a concussion here, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I say concussion. One of his teeth is currently wedged in between his eyeballs. To be fair, he got hit that fucking hard into the wall. Fucking poor guy. But yes, going back to what Rara said, obviously I made a really, really telling comment in Melbourne. This is pretty much to wrap the F3 side up. Obviously Rara being the F3 champion, of course. But I will simply say I made a telling comment in Melbourne qualifying, saying how this is going to be the most interesting division and commentary that I've ever done, which it obviously turned out to be. So I want to say thank you for everybody. The phrase was, "Watch this space, guys. This shit's going to get good." My exact words in the Melbourne Grand Prix. So, congratulations for Rara, of course, and everybody else who took part. And, of course, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be going with F3. This isn't the end of this particular part of the review. I think we're probably going to go through some of the F2 at least. Obviously, I'm going to try and end it when the race ends, so we'll go as far as we can go.
I just want to say as well, being part of the F3 family, you know, for the debut season of our RRF1, you know, there have been some, you know, some amazing guys in there, and I don't think I could have raced with a better bunch of guys, if I'm honest.
It's become like a amen to that, Rara. It's become a family feeling. Obviously, when Pete came to me and said, "Let's do a racing league," I was a bit of a spoiler, guys. I did actually at first say no. I did.
Twisted your arm.
That was the first message. Yep. Yeah, and this nearly didn't happen. You know what I mean? And then obviously overnight we came together, and this was the biggest worry, wasn't it? And when we turned up on that Thursday, that fabled Thursday night in Melbourne with fucking 17 people. I mean,
mind blown.
Emotions were high at the time, obviously.
That's a lot of debris
at the time, and I said I could. Almost as much debris as drivers that we had. But oh, Bishop, that's a wall there, mate. But yes, it was just an incredibly emotional experience to kind of see and go through, and just like I said, on behalf of obviously the admin side, because of course myself, RRP admin. Just want to say thank you guys, everybody, for showing up week in, week out. I think we only had 6 races out of the 21, but we didn't have a Q1. But enough to at least have a Q1, obviously. Thank you, Kakashi, my driver of the season, for leaving the garage in Russia. I've been needing to get that off my fucking chest for about fucking 4 weeks. So a fucking men to you. But no, guys, from a more serious perspective, fucking thank you, bunch of sexy fucking bastards.
Are we doing drivers of the season and funniest moments and stuff, or we're just going to do that roundup in the end?
Do you know what? Should we focus? I reckon we should do it now, actually, and see where we end up.
Because we've got 12 laps left, so we'll just try and drag it out a bit, and then we'll try and do something next week.
Try and do a bit of
F2 or whatever.
And guys,
a base is gone.
I have just smacked my. Shit.
Because it's not about the base.
It's not
about the base. No.
Oh, no, that is. Sorry, no, that is actually Lewis, isn't it? I nearly called him Dom, which he would have really, really appreciated.
No, that was the noise he made. That was the noise he made when he hit the wall.
All about the bass, Dom. Yeah, we'll leave that on there. That's the funniest moment of the season, by the way, guys. That thing is over. So I will simply say, driver of the season for F3. I'm just going to go back. I'll actually load up the F2 table in case we went onto it, but I'll go back to F3 briefly. Fucking hell.
Alright, as I was part.
I want to say you, but you weren't there every single.
No,
I go away, even though we didn't finish it.
I would say Wigston, but the fact that he obviously he weren't there for the end of it.
Was he? Yeah. Just fucking
I think Dan for me, Dan Pennell's. Because the amount of mistakes he was making at the first part of the season, and you might need to retitle this as F3 season review.
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
But yeah,
really
the fact that the consistency got better, and then of course he was, he was challenging me for the championship because of his consistency, and so yeah, I personally would give him, for me, driver of the F3 season.
I'm going to throw Bishop into it for being more consistent, barring his obvious shenanigans of the American and Brazilian Grand Prix. You remember in America, of course, he did hit someone off as well. It was Milky Bar guy. But obviously, we have incidents. Shit happens, you know what I mean? But Bishop's consistency from, I'd say, Austria onwards was nothing short of sorry, I'm looking at the wrong guy. From Spain onwards was nothing short of remarkable. So I probably will say, obviously I know Rari won the championship. You'd be the obvious choice, but outside of the championship winning side of it, I would honestly say Bishop myself.
Okay,
It's obviously
Pete.
personal. Obviously, this
I'm going to
doesn't
stick
mean-
with Wixer
obviously this
because he did have the form.
Yeah.
If he had seen it out, he would have been the champion. You can only base him on what he
Would have been a
raced,
lot of F2
and he
guys.
was
Yeah.
pretty much top at the time. So
He
I'll stick
was.
with that.
Like I
Right,
say,
so that's that done.
it was a shame. It was a shame that he just didn't stick it out because it would have been like a 5-car battle for the championship.
Oh man, the championship
Wixter,
battle would have been
me,
class if he had been a bit. Really would have.
Unique,
Would have been 7
Dan,
in this race, wouldn't it?
7. Yeah, it would have been about 7 of us.
But then
Actually,
remember,
so.
Beer missed about 5.
Yeah,
Don't
Beer.
forget
If
Beer
Beer
here.
would have
Beer missed
just,
about 5 races at the end as well.
Yeah, I tell you
So-
what, that's another thing. I love the fact that Beer came back. I think it was like for Mexico, and he did the last 3
Brazil,
races
wasn't
of the season. No, it was. I think he
Brazil
was.
for that shit show.
I think he was in the Mexican Grand Prix as well.
I think he was in
I'm
qualifying, wasn't he? And then backed out.
Yeah, but like I say, he turned up, and I was really happy that he did because when he won the Canadian Grand Prix, it was he was there. He was there challenging for the championship, so he could have been there. We know Beer, he's that.
He's been in championship fights before.
Yeah, he's been
I've commentated over one of them.
He's been in championship fights before. He's that, fat. He's so difficult to overtake. I think it was F1 2016 or 17, or it was one of them. We were racing in either ESR or SF1, and I remember being stuck behind him
ESR,
in
yeah.
I remember being stuck behind him in Bahrain, and for the life of me, I just could not find a way past him. And he's always had that ability to know how to keep someone behind. Like I say, if you're gonna make a move on him and you do pass him, unless you're Jason Pinnell's that waiting for the kill, it's basically a really, really well thought out move because you've got it done, and you've passed
My
him
stream last
fairly.
night was CSR post season. If you guys want to check that out, me and Beer had a 7 or 8 lap battle. I couldn't get past him in the rain. That was a really, really fun battle. But no, just to back up what you're saying, Ron, Beer would have been up there for my driver this season. Not just obviously because we're old friends, but because of the fact of the way he drove before. Obviously, his season fell apart, which obviously has lowered that down. Now I'm going to throw a real curveball, guys. I'm actually going to go for a quick smoke as well, Rara. So forgive me for not having any kind of input here, but I'll leave you with. I'll be really quick. I'll leave this for about 1 minute, mate, 'cause I'm right by the door already. But here's one for you, Rara. Most improved driver. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Most improved driver, right? Okay, that's going to be an interesting one.
Jason
I'd probably
Pinnell
have
springs
to
to
s-
mind.
I would. Jason Pinnell's, yes, definitely. Considering
And
he
Stan,
ruined.
maybe.
Oh,
Yeah.
see, there's so many. There's Jason, there's Anstan, there's Wybinator.
Yeah.
Those three. Jason being joining in at the British Grand Prix and just not getting out of the way of myself and Wigster and taking both of us out, and going to being in like 4th position in the Mexican Grand Prix because he's there on merit. He's there on pace and whatnot, and he's getting quicker and quicker all the time. He's got a wheel, he's practicing constantly, and it's absolutely fantastic to see. You've got Wybinator, who was just making mistakes left, right, and centre. Throughout the early stages of the season. Being involved in collisions and stuff like that, and then getting those wins, like for the flyaway races. Boom, 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 and he's there in the championship hunt, only to be denied because of his Mexican shenanigans as Pete nearly goes off towards Holland there, and it's like. He really did improve because even after that, Brazil, if it weren't for whatever happened at turn 3, he would have been up there, and he quite comfortably won the last race of the season in Abu Dhabi. He didn't have a single threat. He dominated it, and if he's in the F3 next season, I think he will win it. He is my tip. if he's in F3 next season to win it. He just needs to improve the consistency.
Yeah.
Who was the other guy that was mentioned? Anstan.
Jason,
and Anstan.
Someone else.
Anstan was the story. The fact that he was known as the dive bomber. You used to think, oh crap, Anstan's behind me, or I'm starting alongside him. And then as the season went on, he got better. He got so much better to the point where he got a wheel. We're on about Anstan. I've done the other two. I basically brought up Wybinator and JP. But Anstan, the fact that he went to a wheel and then got so quick, it's just once he's got that consistency with being on a wheel, he is going to be a threat next season as well. So, like I say, it's F3 next season is going to be between Wybinator and Anstan if they're still in it.
You could pick any of the three of them, really. I don't even know who I go with.
Obviously, I was actually going to mention all three of them. But my
10-second penalty for corner cutting. Fucking hell, Tyler.
Oh, what the hell's he done? What? Oh,
he pit it again there a minute ago, I think.
No,
the third time.
Did he miss the chicane out? I think I missed that. I don't know what happened there. But obviously, guys, we have to have the classic pause missing the incident. That's obviously got to get in the season review. That's a Fable thing. But my driver most improved person. This isn't in stone. Just my point of view. Unique shots.
Yeah, it's not a bad shot either,
Yep. Again, of course, racing. Racing with him. I'd noticed in Belgium. Of course, that's when me and Unique. We got chatting and whatnot, and it's like. To be fair, ever since then, yeah, he is. He is a top guy. Ever since Belgium, we were always in a party together come race night. Me, him, and Bishop, and he's a lovely guy. He really is, and he's such a hard racer. He's quick. He gets, and it's just a shame he didn't get more wins. He deserved more wins.
He did. And obviously a couple of incidents obviously along the way kind of obviously halted him, obviously glitches, a couple of mistakes here and there kind of made foul to him, but to be honest with you, I think every single name that was mentioned there can literally be classed as most improved. Obviously you got likes of Dan Pinells as well, but obviously he was more of a consistent improvement, wasn't he, rather than just kind of shooting up like a lot of all the guys who
Oh shit!
The most unimproved driver in this race probably goes to PTR. Jesus Christ, he's been...
I pulled it right back to him. I was debating hitting and then that was it.
Your tyres are dead.
A bit of an unconventional racing line there as well. We do promote that in RRF1 to kind of avoid the racing line whenever you can. Obviously corner cuts are essential in our league. Dragoon got a 3-second penalty one in there for the most pathetic corner cut decision I've ever seen. Oh my god, Peter's wall there, mate. It talks sometimes as well.
You see this corner up here?
Oh god, here we go. Launch him on.
Flat out.
No. Do it.
He choked.
Hey!
He became a pussy. He did go flat, but if he had no wing, he probably would have been absolutely flatlining that one flat
I think. Alright, what would we say? Going off memory, because none of us can really have wrote anything down regarding this. Best overtake that you can remember.
Beers in Monza.
Rara, I think it you and someone at Silverstone.
I do have one. Ant Stan in Abu Dhabi for one of the most insane overtakes, and then he crashed out on the next corner.
I remember you slated him as well, just like, oh, Ant Stan, well done. Oh, you absolute prick.
Yeah, my exact words. We probably should be a little bit more generous to some of the cars and the drivers, to be fair, because we are a little bit brutal at times. But
okay, alright, we're a bit more generous. Oh, Ant Stan, you fucking prick.
He's probably not going to appreciate us for saying that, but it was an amazing overtake. It probably leads us to the dumbest moment of the league season as well, right after it. But yeah, overtake, time between Ant Stan and Beer, just off memery. I know Rory, you did unbelievable overtakes as well.
I don't remember any really good overtakes. I'm going to be brutally honest. I just don't. I'm really annoyed at that.
There's been that many good moments. There's been that many good moments in the league. It's kind of hard to kind
Like I
of
said,
cherry
Pete said something about me in Silverstone. I'm tempted
There was a great battle going on between you, and then something happened. Did you get taken out by a back marker or
with
something
Jason
as it was
Jason
going
Perez.
on?
That's what we spoke about.
Yeah, we spoke about that.
Oh,
But you're
yeah,
in a really
you
good
overtook
battle with
Wigster.
someone else.
No, you overtook Wigster, didn't you? You overtook Wigster on the outside of the Wellington Straight. Go
I
around the
think I
right-hander.
forget.
And that's what happened right after it, I believe. Or I think it was a lap before. But guys, obviously, this is an interactive stream. Obviously, I'm not looking at the stream at all. There could be loads of comments. It's going to be interesting. I've never done this before. I've never actually watched my stream while doing a stream, if that makes sense. Or
Yeah.
I've never actually not watched the stream. So this is going to be quite interesting to see the comments on
Like
the
say,
stream. Actually.
I think overtaking a season that I can remember has to be Beer on Monza. I don't think I remember like going, oh my god, throughout watching the F3 season, that moment there where he went toe to toe with Shrews and
Milky Bar guy. The thing with that made that so impressive as well was the fact that both drivers were in their second Grand Prix, and obviously Bear and Shrews have had previous in the qualifying session as well. Obviously we're going to be going on to a bit of a darker one as obviously fuck up of the season, which there's been a few. That's coming next, and obviously I think we'll probably kind of leave that as the last one. We've only got about 5 laps left, but overtake I'd probably say, and that was another terrible. Oh, AJ is dead. Oh, Towley killed AJ. Oh, wow.
I was looking forward to getting a battle in there too.
That was brilliant. And I think it was desync. I think he desynced into AJ, and AJ went into the wall at about 200 miles an hour. Oh my god, that was brilliant. But anyway, that ended quite sourly. Sykes letting Tally back go again. Where's Tally going? Holy moly! There's a lot of smoke there, guys. Oh dear.
Is Tally giving
putting on a bit of a show here? I don't know. It was quite a intriguing moment, must be said.
Well, he's now dropping further and further. He's now dropping further and further behind.
He's on the grass. I think he's letting the guys go actually. I certainly, guys, that'll be my overtake of the season beer. Like I said, because of that, they're both new and you didn't really know about them in terms of.
Go on, Tally, you can do it. Oh no, he's doing straight on, straight into the wall. Yep, he's dead. There we go, straight across the track, dead.
Wonder how far Dragoon is in front of me. I really don't want to come last in this.
Oh, you will, mate. You completely will.
You're 24.6 seconds behind Dragoon.
He's on really used medium, so.
But yeah, I think for me, worst moment of the season was coming in together with Unique in USA. I've punished myself so much for that because I really do feel guilty. That was a real dark moment for me. I actually thought I'd lost the championship there.
In terms of dark moments throughout the whole league, the one thing I will say is Brazil. Across the board, it was possibly the worst. Like I know it's a season review, guys. We've got to kind of take the rough with the smooth and the good with the bad. But talking about bad, Brazil, every league encounters a race which just ends up in clusterfuck status. Obviously, we had it in Melbourne, but that was to be expected. We had
especially with it being F3, with where the majority of new drivers were as well. Also,
10 of their first league races, wasn't it?
Well, that's
was
it.
Just a shit show.
That's it. I do actually remember now an overtake that has stuck in mind that I made. I think it was on Shrews in Mexico heading down to turn 1, and the only reason I remember it is because I remember watching it back, and obviously when I watch it back I've got the comments on as well, and I remember Towley going, "Rara, only clean overtake of the race."
I think it was during the Wyburn scandal, wasn't it, as well?
Gate,
as we call that in Mexico.
Gate.
New name for it. Big battle here between Dragoon and Bishop, of course, F3 versus F2 on track at the moment. Just watching this. Bishop keeps to the
They're still each other up. I just pulled 3 seconds out of them in one sector.
Hello. Here we go.
Keep that up.
Nice clean move there. But yes. I will simply say though, not really other dark moments. Obviously, we've discussed a few of the other dark moments. Obviously, bad moments. Dark just makes it sound like a fucking bad porno, doesn't it? But we did, of course, have Charles, as we discussed. Kind of ill-fated China moment, of course, for himself. Obviously, the lobby invasion of Singapore, which we're not going to go and give too much of a light to because it's not necessarily discussed.
That was horrible.
We'll brush on from that. Obviously dealt with as it could have been. We didn't need that to happen, but of course, every single league will have trolls. It will have teething problems. You know what I mean? It will have all of that sort of scenario that will happen at the same time. You know what I mean? And we've managed to, as a league, as a collective league and admin, and kind of drive the base, we've all kind of grouped together, and as almost as I did mention the word family. And we are, you know what I mean? This is obviously, we've been in many leagues. I've been in many leagues in the past. Rory, you have. I know Peter, you've been in a few yourself, or a couple at least. And the way that this league has kind of gone together and kind of grouped together and got through adversity. Obviously, there's been falling outs. Obviously, at the very top, as we're going to be talking about the Elite League. Of course, I will bring up that. Obviously, we're going to be talking about this in much more detail. The Elite League. I think I probably might invite Beer into the Elite League review, because he's done a lot of the commentaries for it, hasn't he? As well. So I'll probably get Beer's input on that. But for example, Britain obviously had the controversy with Robbo getting the penalty removed, if you remember, with obviously the Haynes incident and the Benny coming together in that as well, and obviously Rob having backing up, and obviously then hitting Cookie Chip, of course, his teammate. But all of this stuff, of course, is being judged by, and it's kind of been a real test for us to kind of test our abilities and how we're going to deal with certain scenarios.
And I
the way that
generally think we've got
has been
a
amazing.
great, fantastic group of guys.
Yes. Pretty cool camera angles as well, but we have, and it's just such a, it's a nice feeling. Like, a few times in the past I've been like, oh, do you know what, I'd rather just do a career mode episode, or this is
Yeah,
even
I've
this is
not
the
had that feeling once with this.
No, and it's a very uncommon thing to have, but sometimes you do dread, oh, is there going to be another incident here, we're going to have an absolute fucking mental breakdown. I'll be honest with you, I'm actually going to name the other league used to be, of course, SF1, because I was, of course, at the time, I just took over the mantle, and it was an absolute fucking nightmare. You know what I mean? It was just like one incident after another happened, and a penalty here, and a penalty there, and people outspoken here and there. Another thing we've done in RRF1, for those of you who are new watching this, obviously this is going to be uploaded. Like, I'm not interested in the views on this video. We actually got up to 6 at one stage, which is incredible, considering I'm not even watching it myself or advertising it, but, I'm not asked about that. But for those of you watching back, we haven't had that. It's been so refreshing, but the one reason I think it's succeeded so well is a controversial one, and that's the fact that we haven't shut anybody up. We've let everybody have their grievances, which was a very controversial thing that we've done. Obviously, in SF1 we had to do a huge block because it went too mad.
We're giving the whole group their opinions. Own things, we don't just say this is happening. We'll give people.
I think there's only been a couple
involved.
of times where we've had to step in with a couple of people and just go, just tone it down slightly. All right, there is a limit.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't.
There's always
destroy each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But reasonably, it has been unbelievably clean, and everybody's got on reasonably well from memory.
And I think
that
is why I think season two of every league is just going to be that all more intense and fun.
Oh yeah, a few rivalries there.
It's going to be testing.
Yeah,
it's going to be testing as well. Obviously, it will be a little bit more heated and a little bit more, because obviously we will be introducing the first proper promotion and relegation system, which of course we will be discussing in the admin side, how many people go up and go down, etc. You know what I mean? Whether it will be the same amount in each league, blah blah blah. Obviously that will be discussed at a later date and obviously put into place once the new game comes out. Obviously I think that's probably the first thing we'll have to do, just kind of, iron out the fucking shit, and then obviously we can get on with the racing side of it. But yeah, one thing I will mention about the F3 guys, which we all do it in every league, but F3 do it better than most. Whenever there's a kick-off, within about 2 hours, everybody's fucking kissing each other and hugging. It's amazing how you guys, obviously in F3, were able, going back to the family feel, to resolve and squashing kind of all of your differences and all the issues on track.
Yep.
In such a kind of amicable way. To use a very, very nice word.
It's amazing to see, and like, there's been numerous instances, and then like 2 hours after the race, we're going, I can't believe you did that, you dick, ha ha ha. It's just. It's just it's a great, fantastic feel. And I think that's why I've grown so attached to everyone who I've raced with in F3, because they just are amazing.
Notice Pete, you've pitted as well, so that's kind of a cool thing. You have to do one less lap, which is ideal.
But also, I think there's just one thing I do want to say as well. I want to say thank you to, obviously, you and Pete, because obviously you two were the main instigators of this. Pete coming up with the idea, you accepting it, and just like, I mean, you two you two have created this, and it's amazing how quickly we took off. You know, the amount of interest we had, the people that came in, and like I say, it's just you've given us a home.
I must admit, of all the things I've done on Xbox, this is probably the proudest thing I've done. Of not even joking. It's just been
And like I said,
it's been
we've
unbelievable.
brought in the social media aspect of things. I mean, I advertised left, right, and centre on like Instagram and Twitter and various Formula One groups on Facebook.
Oh, fastest
Pete,
lap! Get
obviously,
in.
yay! That's 1 point for Pete. Obviously, Pete, you've got the news and meme side of things. You know, where you've
Yeah.
been able to interact with everyone from there. Oh my God!
That's where most of F3 actually came from, believe it or not. Wigs to
Yeah, I think
Dampenels,
they did as
Jason,
well. Yeah.
most of them all came from there, so it was a nice wee thing. Will try and round up some more for 2019, but we'll see what the numbers are when the time comes. It's always good
the
to
one to kind
delve
of
into.
drop a sign off from this, being the fucking gobshite of the league. Self-proclaimed, of course.
Fucking overlord again.
I want to poach, motherfucker. Give me them eggs, bitch. But I want to simply turn around and say, obviously, initially, thank you. Not only to myself, although I thank myself for being a gobshite.
Well done, Paz.
For social media, but I want to thank this. This wouldn't be what it is without all you. You know, we can
Indeed.
No,
the
it wouldn't.
you know, there's a very famous phrase which was actually said by a wrestler, which Pete will take in. Triple H said this to CM Punk. Forgive me, guys, for going into wrestling, but this is my sign out for this. When he was talking about pipe bombs, what happens if you drop a pipe bomb and nobody is there to hear it? So not only am I going to basically thank the racers, I'm going to thank everybody who's watched it and spread this round word of mouth.
Yep.
Fucking thank you to all of you, because basically we wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for all of you.
I mean, there was a point where streaming one of these races where we've had more people watching us than a famous F1 YouTuber, and that was insane.
We were the top. I think we've hit 5 or 6 weeks in a row. We've been the number one. But I'm going to say trending F1 channel on Twitch. And that's for
That's a big target for next season to top and go on.
I can't wait, and it's going to be a big challenge.
Me neither.
But I will simply say though, F2 race report or season review will be done at some point in the next week. I want to get Elite done next Sunday. That's what I want to really aim at. So probably do F2 at some point in the week. I'll try and get a lobby set up, and then we'll just all get together whenever we fucking can or whatever. But this has been Poz, Rara, and Pete. Signing out. This went on for about. If we did all three of these guys, would be here till fucking 4:30 in the morning. Probably. So.
Yeah, this took a
lot
longer than expected.
A lot longer.
To talk about. And to be fair, I want to thank everybody for your continued support. We'll be back, obviously, in the midweek, most likely. Obviously, we'll speak to Rara and obviously in the background, see when you are free, when you guys are free. But from everybody here at RRF1, all the admin side of it, all the drivers, everybody who's watching, this has been Positively Glad. Much love. 2 more parts of this to come. All the best, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Bye for now.